Hello dear viewers and welcome to RTD's English News Edition. Let's take a look at our top stories. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed arrives in Djibouti for a 24-hour working visit. United States of America approves to sell warplanes to Nigeria to aid its fight against Boko Haram. Thank you for joining us in our newsroom. The Prime Minister of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, Mr. Abiy Ahmed, arrived today in Djibouti as part of an official working visit of 24 hours. The Ethiopian Prime Minister, Mr. Abiy Ahmed, who is accompanied by a large delegation from his country, was greeted as soon as he got off the plane by the President of the Republic of Djibouti, Ismail Omar Guelleh. And this let us recall in the presence of the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, members of the government, parliamentarians, representatives of international organizations, and the diplomatic corps accredited to Djibouti. The Djiboutian authorities roll out the red carpet for the Prime Minister, who makes his first working visit to Djibouti.
Dalsan Djibouti, Ladina yo, Selkina bato, Apateko, Dalsamia.
Prime Minister, welcome to the Republic of Djibouti.
iskudumiyo waa kala dambay
iskudumiyo waa kala dambay
على وطنك iskudumiyo waa kala dambay
iskudumiyo waa kala dambay
يداوشو ودرس ونابي وولد الدوري دمر معاني يدبحشو وقصود العيس يداوشو ودرس وناقي ودا دردوري دلسان جابوتي يا دينا يوم غيركي نبضو أبطيقو دلسمية دلسان جابوتي يا دينا يوم غيركي نبضو أبطيقو دلسمية
In following the reception, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, held a brief meeting with Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed in the Hall of Honor at the Ompuli International Airport and discussed the excellent relationship between the two friendly countries and peoples in all fields. The meeting was attended by Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, Foreign Minister Mohammed Ali Yusuf, a number of government members and two ambassadors from both countries. And exactly who is Dr. Abiy Ahmed? Here is his biography.
The new Ethiopian leader was born in August 15, 1976 in Agaro, the Oromo region. His family is both Christian and Muslim. The new Ethiopian Prime Minister is a politician with an impressive academic and military background. After completing a PhD at the University of Addis Ababa, Abiy Ahmed continued his studies in the United States and Great Britain. He is fluent in Oromo, Amharic and Tigray. Returning to the country, Abiy served in the Ethiopian military up to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. As such, he was part of the UN Blue Helmet of the United Nations mission in Rwanda. He joined the political sphere in the late 80s. He will be part of the Oromo Democratic Organization, and he was the leader, one of the four parties of the ruling EPRFD coalition. Advantage and a consensual profile that explain why the choice of the EPRDF was focused on him. Following the resignation of the Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn, a meeting his executive council has been held on March the 27th. The Ethiopian Revolutionary People has chosen a new president, and from there the future head of the government in the person of Abiy Ahmed, who will subsequently be elected Prime Minister of the Federal and Democratic Republic of Ethiopia by the Parliament on April the 2nd. A member of the EPRF, the Executive Committee, Dr. Abiy Ahmed worked for a long time with the late Prime Minister Meles Zenawi, of which he was a disciple. Thus, Abiy Ahmed presents himself as a pragmatic politician, a man of open mind and dialogue, quality that have prevailed in his appointment to the post of Prime Minister. For his first visit abroad, his first destination is the Republic of Djibouti, a choice that joined the traditional political line of Ethiopia insofar as the two countries maintain secular relations based on trade, which perfectly illustrate the policy of regional economic integration advocated by the African Union. Thus, Abiy Ahmed presents himself as a politician and has all the quality to give a new impetus to the dazzling development that Ethiopia has been witnessing in the recent years.
In an interview, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, talked about the importance of the Ethiopian Prime Minister's visit to Djibouti. The Foreign Minister said that the two countries share important and outstanding relations of trade and economy. The Energy Minister in charge of the Natural Resources, Younis Ali Gedi, along with the Secretary General of his department and three parliamentarians from the Khil region, namely Mr. Mahmoud Hassan Farah and Mohammed Aden Jama and Jama Gedi traveled to the unit area yesterday, Friday, to distribute a large donation of solar kits, mosquito nets, kitchen utensils and clothing to the community for the benefit of the inhabitants of the Dekhi rural localities. Along with the prefect of the region, Mr. Mohammed Sheikh Hassan, the chairman of the regional council, Abdurrahman Yunis Array, and the Riyadh chief of staff, Colonel Idris Omar Eleye, who was waiting for them at Dekhil. The delegation led by the Minister of Energy went first to the localities Bandara before going to Sankal in Shiketi. At each place, the members of the delegation first met with local population before proceeding with the distribution of the household kits. And on the occasion, the Minister of Energy, Mr. Younis Ali Gedi, explained that this donation of solar kits, including one mobile solar panel, 3 lamps and 1 radio station, is part of the policy initiated by the President of the Republic, Ismail Mergede, aiming to facilitate access to electricity for people in rural areas with the aim of contributing to the improvement of their living conditions. He also stressed that it is planned in this context to extend this program to all rural locations in our country without electricity. The Minister of Energy finally thanked 2 members of the government, namely the Minister of Health, Dr. Jamal Mouki, and the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Mrs. Muna Osman Aden, who for their contribution to the purchase of these materials. The People's Palace saw last night the closing of the youth component in an exceptional show of a representation of all the countries individual, then in a final show together. The last performance was for each country the last moment to move on stage and tell the beauty of their country and the commitment of the country in the protection of the environment. For Djibouti, the national artist Ms. Nawi has staged the specificity of each region of the interior. She has put forward the legendary sense of hospitality of our country, as well as the Republican values of our country. Jasmine Angeles were offered to each young person representing their respective island, as well as the Secretary of State, the Monetary and Comorian Ministers, the Council of the President of the Republic, and finally the Secretary General of the CJS who took part in this ceremony. The Forum of Intellectuals of the Horn of Africa opened this morning at the Sheraton Hotel. This forum is a platform for discussion and exploration involving researchers, intellectuals, politicians and other interested professionals, whether they are from the Horn of Africa or come from the diaspora, so to contribute to the analysis of the fundamentals problems of the region in search of durable and sustainable solutions. This two-day forum was co-organized by the European Union and the United Nations Department of Political Affairs. It saw the participation of the representatives and resident coordinator of the United Nations system in Djibouti, Mrs. Barbara Menzi, the ambassador of the European Union in Djibouti, Mr. Adam Kulesh, the executive secretary of IGAD, Mahboub Malin, the director of Nairobi Regional's office, Mr. Abdurrahman Lamine. The theme for this year was the search of a regional security arrangement in the Horn of Africa, women's participation in peace and security activities, environmental crisis and community conflicts, define a region-wide security arrangements. And let's follow the interventions of the representative of the European Union and UNDP.
The region is not only continuing having internal conflicts, Somalia not still stabilized, South Sudan, the challenging issue, Yemen around, you know that all this requires not only political efforts, not only engagement of governments, not only engagement of international organizations, regional organizations, but first of all civil society, society in general, researchers, also women, also culture, also those who can support the broader effort of bringing everyone together.
It's a real pleasure to participate in this conference on a search for a region-wide security arrangement in the Horn of Africa. And as I look around this room, I see a wealth of experience and perspectives that are a testament to the region's extraordinary diversity and potential. I wish to express my appreciation to the Greater Horizon Forum for bringing us together today. As a complex interstate relation and growing geopolitical competition affects the Horn of Africa, we are grateful to the organizers for posing us very pertinent questions, like how can the region build an inclusive and sustainable platform for cooperation on peace and security? But also, what are the obstacles and opportunities, even more importantly, to integrate more? How can the Horn of Africa better articulate its interests in a way that provides a social return? And how the many, many initiatives in this sense can be brought together for the benefit of the people? There is a growing recognition that peace and prosperity can only be achieved when institutions are representative of all groups of society. Yet, constructive management of diversity, whether it's ethnic, whether it's religious, whether it's political, whether it's gender-related, remains difficult in most countries.
In his speech, the representative of the UNESCO said the following.
Creating a platform for engagement among scholars, researchers on the one hand, and policymakers and other players is to look at the issues that affect the region with a view to finding a collective way of addressing the challenges that have been described in the area of building peace in the IGAD region is indeed very, very important. Allow me therefore in my brief remarks to just mention 3 key points for our collective reflection over the next 2 days. First, I would like to situate today's discussion in the context of the ongoing socio-economic and political transformations that are occurring across the region. And here I say the entire continent, but more specifically in the IGAD region and the Greater Eastern Africa community. I think a snapshot of Africa's socio-political landscape would suggest that significant progress has been made in terms of transforming the way things are done. At the very minimum, one has to acknowledge that at the normative level and within the region, the necessary instruments, both at the level of the African Union and the RECs, are being put in place to ensure that indeed the region is transformed.
The Greater Horn Horizon Forum is a forum of scholars from all the 8 Greater Horn countries and also from the diaspora of the region. It was established in 2007, and UNESCO was a key player in establishing the organization. And UNESCO supported financially the forum for several years, and UNESCO is still a partner for the forum. Besides UNESCO, of course, the government of Djibouti, we are grateful to the government of Djibouti for the support they give us. IGAD, what is the forum doing? We are essentially a think tank, if you like, or a forum of researchers. Basically, we do research on key issues impacting the region. But besides research, of course, empirical research that informs policy, but we do also a number of surveys. We aim to build a civil society constituency for promoting regional integration in the region. So in other words, our mission is in fact supporting the mission of IGAD, but we bring civil society constituency. We also support area universities in a number of issues, training to enhance capacity.
In all the news outside our borders, in Yemen, dozens of rebels, including commanders, killed in a raid. More with Hindi Ibrahim.
Out at least 29 airstrikes on Sana'a province hours after Houthi rebels fired a plastic missile towards the Saudi capital Riyadh. President told that bombs rained down on several neighborhoods of the capital on Sunday. Target stage in Al-Sabin square used by Houthi rebels for military parades. The nearby presidential place, the National Security Headquarters and the Interior Ministry. The Houthi-run Sabah news agency reported more than 15 airstrikes in Sana'a and further 14 in the district of Sinhan and Beni Bahulul. Fatih al-Rodani, an activist based in the capital, told some of the raids aim at Sana'a's old city, a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
United States of America approves to sell warplanes to Nigeria to aid its fight against Boko Haram. Explanations.
It will deliver the 22 Tucano A-29 ground attack aircraft to Nigeria in 2020 after the federal government concluded payment of about 153 billion in January this year.
This is it for our latest news, and have a great evening.